almost live from the Herbert I. Greenberg Studios at WHIG. It's Up Late with Sam Bass.
Thank you, Scott Smith, and welcome to the show. Greetings, everyone. Glad to have you here tonight. So in case you didn't get enough March Madness or Final Four excitement over the last few weeks, you can get your thrills right here. You can, in North Carolina, you can legally place bets on me if you want to. How many sips I'll take. How many times I point. Or maybe somebody might call foul on me. How many times that would happen? Just get online, go to FanDuel or DraftKings and search my name. So before I go any further though, I want to extend a big shout out to my presenting sponsor, First Class Real Estate Triangle East. They are always number seed, in my opinion. Always first class. That's a great slogan, by the way. They should use that. Maybe they already are. You're free to use that if you want to, Brett. Let me also thank our friends over at Metro Maintenance. Benton Moss and his team are great. If you need any kind of maintenance work, call them. They can do it all, and I promise you they're going to do a great job. So we got a very exciting show tonight, folks. Our special guest, if not a familiar face, a very familiar voice. Longtime radio personality, the morning man himself, Bill Jordan, is here tonight. Bill was the co-host of the morning show on Mix 101.5 for almost 2.5 decades. That's older than Jamie is. And he recently wrote a book called Embrace the Boom. It is full of wisdom and valuable insights and life lessons that us baby boomers have learned over the years. I don't quite have enough little nuggets like that to fill out a whole book myself, but I do have a few important words of advice to pass along to the younger generations. Never trust a turn signal. Those people will fool you. Most of the time they won't signal, and they'll turn anyhow. Also, never trust anyone who tells you to pull their finger. Don't do it. I know probably not good book material, but good advice nonetheless, in my boomer opinion anyway. Speaking of boomers, tonight's top 5 list is all about how my generation, the boomers, is better than your generation, the Gen Zs and the millennials, Gen Xs, all the rest of them. So here goes, and I got to kind of move along pretty fast because the millennials, I'll lose their attention. So I'm going to get right to it. The top 5 baby boomers are better than current generation. Top 5, here they are. Number 5, we actually had social skills instead of social media. The best part about that is, without doubt, is there is no photographic evidence of what we did back in those days. Number 4, we are actually smarter than our phones instead of the other way around. And since they were usually tethered to a wall, we never had to worry about losing them. They were always there. We always knew how to find them. Also, they never talked back, Siri. Number 3, our generation, the boomers, gave rise to notable people like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and our special guest tonight, waiting in our green room, Bill Jordan. This younger generation, the younger generations, they have people like Kylie Jenner and the Kardashians and somebody named Mr. Beast, Kim Jong-un. Okay, I'll say it. Mr. Beast is probably pretty cool. Number 2, we baby boomers can find an address by just using road signs and street numbers. We don't have to rely on a robotic voice to literally tell me when to turn into the parking lot. I can follow directions, I can get there. And the number 1 thing that makes my generation better than yours, if you're not a boomer, you know, all those vinyl records that you guys are running down looking for all the time, We had them first, and we still have them. Sit tight. We'll be right back with Bill Jordan.
Metro Maintenance has provided fast, reliable services in Nash, Edgecombe, and Halifax counties for over 35 years. Metro Maintenance offers services for residential, commercial, and institutional facilities. These services include heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and general repairs. Our numerous years of experience, knowledge, and resources help us to accomplish our mission of serving our customers with superior service achieved through integrity and hard work. All of our work is guaranteed. For service, call 252-977-2730 or find us on the web at metro-maintenance.com. First Class Real Estate Triangle East. When buying or selling a property, think of us first.
We are back, and as promised, the man himself, embracing the boom the whole way here, Bill Jordan is here live and in person.
Man.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Well,
Bill.
thank you for inviting me. And to be remembered. It's been a while.
I think everybody in the area remembers you. You're the morning man. Everybody knows you from Mix 101.5. And I'm just so happy you made the trip to Rocky Mountain. We're so glad to see you.
I'm glad to have gotten here.
Well, little traffic along the way.
I'm glad to have gotten here.
But otherwise, you did pretty good. So when I ask you about this book, folks, Embrace the Boom, get it. He's going to tell you in a minute where to get it from, but this thing is full of life lessons. You won't just read it once, you'll read it several times, every day maybe. It has great lessons in it. So the introduction to this book was written by Coach K, correct?
Yep.
So do you know him very well? Have you known him long?
I guess I met him when I was, when I first came to the Triangle, I did mornings not at Mix, but at G105. So I came here in 86, left in 89, and joined Mix in 1989. So I had been over at the Searle Center at Duke during the Children's Miracle Network telethon, and Mike was hosting back in those days. So I met him when I was at G105, got to know him there probably for a couple of telethons. And then at Mix, we really got together when we started our Duke Radiothons.
I remember that.
And he would come in every year, and that's where we forged a relationship. And I would say friends. I mean, he's not a, hey, Mike, moving this week, can you come help me with your truck? He's
Not
that,
many friends out there that are like that.
Yeah. So not that, but he is a friend, and he is definitely, a little example into him. My wife always remembers his birthday every year, February 15th, I believe. Anyway, it's around Valentine's Day. And we send him a birthday card. And every year without fail, he sends us a thank you note for his birthday card.
Wow.
But that book, the foreword that he wrote for me, actually came from, I had asked him during one of our radiothons if after the basketball season, if he could give me 20 minutes. I had some ideas for a motivational talk that I thought I would want to do, and I had some ideas down. And again, 20 minutes. So scheduled it with his secretary. I went up into the tower at Duke, into his office, and it's a shrine. And
I bet.
he told me to sit on his couch. He brought a chair over to me with a legal pad and a pen and a Diet Coke, and he's taking notes about what I'm saying. I mean, this is like the Twilight Zone to me.
I can imagine.
And a lot of what I had that I presented to him actually turned out to be that book. So I approached him again about it, told him the history, reminded him of him meeting with me, and he was very gracious to write that forward, which he then said, and another humbling thing, he said, if this isn't good enough, let me know and I'll do it again. It's like, what am I going to tell you? What are you talking about?
What a great
You're
guy.
doing it, yeah.
So how long did it take you to write it?
That's a good question. What I did basically was I had it in my mind that I wanted to come up. First of all, with radio, a lot of our promotions were named with an alliterative name, with alliteration, the repetition of a consonant. Free Movie Friday, something like that, right? Okay. So I attached myself somehow to Embrace the Boom because I had noticed as we got older, and I'm surrounded by people, and everybody's complaining about getting older. I mean, you run into a 20-year-old clerk cashier at the grocery store. They're about to be 21 and they're getting old and they want to tell you about all the responsibilities they've got.
Oh, God.
But we've lost enough people who are, through Duke Children's Hospital as example, a lot of young heroes that haven't made it to their 20s or 30s. So we've been given this gift of life to live longer. Why should we not try to be the best we can be throughout it? So if we're still here, I think we've still got a mission. So I came up with the idea of Embrace the Boom, and I launched I committed, for whatever reason, I was going to make 15 videos in 15 days, skipping the weekends. And I just entitled them, and I had 15 practices. There may be one more, wink. And I just, each night I did the video. And then to make the book, basically I just went back and transcribed what I had said. I may have fleshed out a few things, but that's where so actually after I did the video, it didn't take long to write the book.
Okay. So you teased a little bit about another one. Is there another book in the future?
There's not another book, but there's more than 15 practices. There's
Gotcha.
actually 16 practices.
Okay.
But I push it as 15.
Okay. So if somebody wants to buy this book, how do they do it?
Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I think you can get it even like at Walmart.com and Target.com. The main seller is Amazon.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure if you get the book, folks, that you read it and leave him a great review, because I promise you're going to love the book.
Well, it's very simple. And when I mentioned like one of the practices, and I call them practices because we never perfect them.
Right.
So, I mean, keep it simple. It's stuff that we've heard all our lives. Keep it simple. The golden rule. Stay in the present. Stuff like that. But it expands on some of those things in a new way I have of looking at them. And really, it's basic stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you look at business or look at sports, if you become very, very good at the basics and the fundamentals, you're going to be hard to beat. And I think it's the same with life.
Right. So I'm going to switch gears a minute. I'm going to talk about, you had a long career in radio. Almost 40 years altogether, is that correct?
Yeah, right, just shy of 40 on the air, and then I went back and joined Mix in 2016 for 18 months. I did 3 podcasts a week, and then helped the new morning show with Radiothon and also with Toys for Tots and stuff like that.
Great cause. So it's something you always wanted to do, work in radio? Is it just one of those things you kind of fell into with having a great voice? Or?
It's interesting. I have 2 brothers. My oldest brother, Terry, passed away last October. He was in radio. My middle brother went to the University of Richmond, majored in German, studied at the University of Munich his junior year, became fluent. When I went to University of Richmond, I took German, but I also got involved in the campus radio station. Mm-hmm. My older brother, Terry, in radio, was in Richmond at the time. So it was like I had these 2, brothers, each on a different path. I was taking German, and I was really loving German to where I was even beginning to think in German. I don't know if you've ever studied a foreign language to where you're thinking in it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get out, I'm going to be fluent in German, I'll join the Army, get into Army intelligence, go to Europe and chase spies.
You're going to be James Bond.
I was going to chase spies, right? But I got involved with campus radio, and I'd go on the weekends and hang out with my oldest brother, Terry, watch him on remotes or watch him at the radio station. And when I got involved with campus radio, he said, you don't want to do that because you're going to get the bug and you're not going to study. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what happened.
Wow.
So I dropped out of college after 1 year, basically after 1 semester. I stayed to do campus radio.
Wow.
And so I took the radio path.
So you don't have the stereotypical DJ voice, the whole boss radio deal. You're just a regular guy.
I think I started, and everybody does we call it puking. You're talking like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we all start like that. And when I started, and it took me, I forgot what Miles Davis, I think, famously said, the jazz guy, it takes you a long time to find your voice. It takes you a long time to sound like yourself. So initially, I basically mimicked my oldest brother. I was doing him. I was doing my best impression of him.
Oh.
And then it took me, when I got out of and people will say, you write radio personality, when did that become, when was a DJ became a radio personality? I had a lawyer ask me that at our house closing one time, putting occupation, radio personality, and he's like, when did disc jockey, very kind of like snarky, when did disc jockey become radio personality? And I said, well, about the time ambulance chaser became attorney. And we got along fine after that.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, once you become mornings and then you're able to just talk about life and stuff, then you're just talking. You're just talking.
So during the course of your career in the radio, you met a lot of interesting people on the morning show.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one in particular that sticks out in your mind? Other than Coach K.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did. I have met a lot, but my best story is Charlton Heston. And I'm going to say it was spring of 1997. So what is that? 30.
I'll get a calculator and we'll figure it out. A long time ago.
Yeah, it seems like not that long ago, but it was 1997.
That's
and
right.
My partner on the air at the time, Donna Mason, told Donna, and we lost her last year before last.
Oh, really?
Yep. And she had some connections with Quail Ridge Books in Raleigh, and he was coming in and was going to sign his book that evening at Quail Ridge, and it was called To Be a Man. And he wrote this book about how to be a man for his grandson. And so she wrangled that he would come in and join us on the morning show. And I had been doing it long enough to where people would say they were going to be coming in, and it's like, yeah, if they show, they show. If they don't, they don't. So he was supposed to be there at 8:30. At 8:20, the door opened, and in walks Charlton Heston.
Wow.
And
Moses.
yeah, he sits down. My program director at the time is kind of messing with him about, Mr. Heston, would you like some nabs? We have a lovely selection of nabs in the break room. And Charlton Heston was getting a little annoyed, just kind of looking at him. And then the photographer was click, click, click with a real camera, not this stuff now. So click, 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 click. And he looked at our staff photographer and just said, isn't one enough? So I was like, oh man, this could be tough. Well, I always tried to build a rapport with somebody that I was, quote, interviewing, so that it wasn't like an interview, but it was a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I could think of when we cracked the mic, hey, Charlton Heston's here, and we're applauding in the studio and all that stuff. And I just started with, when I was a kid, my friends and I always confused Dustin Hoffman with Al Pacino.
Uh-huh.
Just always got
which
is which. And I said, and I understand early on, you were always confused for Burt Lancaster. And he said, that reminds me of a funny story. And we were off. So what the story was, Kirk Douglas told him that Kirk was in his front yard one day and a guy was walking by his house and yelled to Kirk Douglas, I loved you in the 10 Commandments. And Kirk Douglas tells the guy, I wasn't in the 10 Commandments. And the guy yells back, well, if you're not Burt Lancaster, who are you? Of course, Burt Lancaster also wasn't in the 10 Commandments.
Right.
And then Charlton Heston was great. We had a great chat, conversation. Then we were wrapping up. We go to commercials or a song or something, and we stand up to get our picture taken. So I'm not a dummy. Donna and I stand with him to get our picture taken. And click, I step away. He grabs me by the arm, pulls me back and says, she needs another. And that is like the best celebrity story I've got.
That's pretty cool.
Hard to beat that one.
That is hard to beat. I mean, anybody who ever met Charlton Heston, I got to think that's it's just huge in their life.
Yep.
But we do have some others that you met, and we've got some pictures. Josh Groban, I know you're a fan of his.
Yeah. He's gotten a little bit away from what made him, I think, because he's doing a lot of stage stuff now, which is great. But we've met him several times. Gosh, he was in his 20s, I guess, when we first met him. And the big thing with him, and also with Michael Bublé, is when I was working, I was able to wrangle backstage passes, and I would never tell my wife or the friends that we would go with that we had backstage, just that I wanted to get there early. And I would never be able to fully plan it out until the last minute. It had to happen spontaneously. And so to surprise my wife and friends with backstage stuff like that,
That's awesome.
That was just a good feeling to be able to do. Yeah.
Well, another one that I saw that I have to think is just awesome was Tim Conway and Tom Poston. Because Tim Conway is one of the funniest people ever.
Yeah, and as is Tom Poston. They came in, they were doing a stage performance of The Odd Couple at Raleigh Memorial Auditorium. And I don't really remember too much specifically about it other than it was a hilarious morning. The only thing I can remember is I was telling them about, I've always been kind of fascinated by the celebrities, rock stars in particular, who have a waiver on their contract about what they require in their dressing room. And I think it was Van Halen was like, M&Ms, but no brown ones.
Yeah.
It was
Weird
something,
stuff.
yeah, weird stuff, really just to see if the promoter is paying attention. So I asked him if they had anything weird, and Tom Poston just said, nothing brown. I mean, but yeah, see, because Tim Conway, I mean, I watched him as a kid on McHale's Navy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so when you're meeting these people that you grew up watching, I mean, Dawn Wells, Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island, I didn't meet her, but I got to talk to her on the phone a couple of times.
Mary
And
Ann.
it was like, who would have thought when I was a kid watching Gilligan's Island, her helping me through puberty, that one day I'd be talking to her.
Helping me.
And she'd write me, send me an autographed picture.
That is
I mean,
awesome.
so who would have thought that,
So I want to tell you, we've had quite a few guests so far that have jumped out of planes, rappelled down buildings,
Yeah.
even had one that crashed a jet,
Oh, that's
a
no
military
fun.
jet into the ocean. So I'm beginning to think I'm the only one who hasn't done anything like that. So let's talk about the time you jumped out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have, as we say, I used to have a thing about heights. Now
I still do.
I've got vertigo, and I cannot explain why this happens. And everybody I know, they could do stuff with heights, and it's no problem. And it had come up a couple of times about doing the skydiving thing, and I just wouldn't do it. I did, though, to myself say, if the Golden Knights ever said yes, I got to do it. They're the best. I mean, they're the best in the world, right? And I got to do a lot of things or be around a lot of people who are the best in the world at what they do. And so I got a phone call one day, I think it was in September, and this lady said, hey, Mike Maniscalco, a friend of mine, but he's does stuff for the Hurricanes. He's the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes now. Could not commit to a date, so he recommended you for this, jumping with the Golden Knights. It would be November 26, 2012. That would have been my late mother's birthday. And she said, I'm like hemming and hawing, and she says, hey, they tell me you can say no at any time. I said, I can say no on the plane? She said, well, they tell me that on the plane, no sounds like go. But I said, yeah. I said, I will do it. I'm gonna face this fear and do it. And I was fine, Sam, up until the night before I jumped. And I had this vision in my mind of being, it's a tandem jump. You're just not jumping out. You're going with somebody and hanging on. That he was going to be like leaning into me as we're getting ready to go, he was going to say, my wife left town with my best friend. I've got no reason to live. Let's go. I had this in my mind. And anyway, I got past that. We got out to, down to near Fayetteville. I forgot now the name of the airfield, but it's their headquarters. And the guy's hooking me up, and I said, am I jumping with you? He said, yes, sir, you are. I said, can I have your name? I'd like to know who I'm going to be strapped to and jumping out at 2.5 miles above the surface of the earth. And Sergeant First Class Noah Watts, I will never forget his name. And we got up there, and about 13,500 feet, and you lose all sense of height. And I'm told it's kind of like a woman who's pregnant and you're going to give birth. You're going through with it. They're not going to land the plane with me in it. So off we went. And you only have a sensation of falling for just a few seconds, and then you're floating. And that was, if you remember the movie City Slickers, what was your best day outside of family or something? That was my best day. Absolutely.
Well, I want to move forward a little bit. We're running out of time, but I do want to ask you about your Critter Cam.
Critter Cam, yes.
Have you ever captured anything that you thought might be a Bigfoot?
I've caught myself a few times on it, but no, but we get all kinds of stuff. We're in Fuquay, Varina, in a neighborhood, but there's some woods around there, so we get raccoons and possums and feral cats and deer and big bucks every now and then. Well, there's a fox, and every now and then some coyotes.
Wow. So what's next for Bill Jordan?
What's next for Bill Jordan? Well, I'm also doing some voiceover stuff. That's another kind of a side hustle I've got. So I'm kind of percolating on another idea about Embrace the Boom. It might be, I think the next logical step for that is to do the Audible version.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's the first thing I look for in your book.
Yeah, well, I've kind of put, my wife's got a book also, and I've never done her book, and she's wanted me to do her book. And it's like, if I don't do her book, but I do my book, well, you know.
I got you.
So that puts me in a tough situation.
Listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on, Bill. This has been great.
My pleasure.
We're going to have you back because there's so much more information I've got here to talk to you about, but we have run out of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to Rocky Mount. We'll be right back.
Metro Maintenance has provided fast, reliable services in Nash, Edgecombe, and Halifax counties for over 35 years. Metro Maintenance offers services for residential, commercial, and institutional facilities. These services include heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing, and general repairs. Our numerous years of experience, knowledge, and resources help us to accomplish our mission of serving our customers with superior service achieved through integrity and hard work. All of our work is guaranteed. For service, call 252-977-2730 or find us on the web at metro-maintenance.com. First Class Real Estate Triangle East. When buying or selling a property, think of us first.
Hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. I want to thank my special guest, Bill Jordan, for joining us. Had a great, lively discussion. So many more topics we'd like to talk about. But before we go, I want to mention our Maggie Society Dog of the Week. Mixed breed shelter survivor by the name of Hannah Jane. She's just a baby, only about 8 weeks old. Went from being a shy, withdrawn rescue to this beautiful, happy pup that you see on this clip. She loves to bask in the sun on warm, sunny days and loves smooches, who doesn't, and tennis balls, not pickleballs. How is it these dogs always have so much in common? Look, don't forget, the Maggie Palooza thing is going on May 4th at the Whirligig Park over in Wilson. It'll be here before you know it. Make sure you go. And look, I want to take another minute to thank you for joining us every Thursday night at 10 o'clock. See you soon.